All right, guys, we're back with section 4 of chapter 2. And this is all about solving equations with a variable on each side. So previously we talked about how to solve multi-step equations, and now we're going to solve equations with a variable on each side, as well as solve equations involving grouping symbols. So now it's getting into several steps and what happens whenever you have variables on both sides. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is identity. And so let's jump in. In this first lesson, we're going to talk about variables on each side. So to solve an equation that has a variable on each side, you have to use the addition or subtraction property of equality to write an equivalent expression with the variable terms on one side. So for example, if I have 2 plus 5k equals 3k minus 6, notice I have k's on both sides of the equation. So what I want to do is create an equivalent equation with variables on just one side. So if I could get the 3 to be on the other side, the 3k, I would get all my k's on one side. So in order to do that, I have to use the subtraction property of equality to subtract 3k from both sides, because the 3k here is understood to be a positive 3k. So to kind of get rid of it, you have to subtract 3k off of each side. So these would cancel. And then you would have 2 plus 2k equals negative 6. Now, make sure you keep the sign on the minus 6. It's still negative 6 here. And then you want to get the constants on the other side. So I have to get rid of this 2. So subtract 2 from both sides, and that's nothing really new. Then you have 2k equals negative 8. Now just be careful here. Minus 6 or negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8, not positive 8, not 4, not negative 4. Remember, when you're subtracting like this, you want to do keep, change, change. Keep the sign of the first, change the operation, and then change the sign on the second number. When you're adding and the signs are the same, you add the number, add the numbers, and keep the sign. When you're adding and the signs are different, you subtract the numbers and keep the sign of the bigger. It's that simple. All right, and you don't have to worry about rules for subtraction. If it's subtraction, just do keep, change, change, and make it into addition. All right, so you got 2k equals negative 8. Since it's 2 times k equals negative 8, you have to divide both sides by 2 to get k by itself, and k equals negative 4. All right, and we always want to check our answer in the original equation. So if k is negative 4, you have to substitute negative 4 or replace k with negative 4 wherever there's a k. And remember, since it's 5k, you don't just put 5 negative 4, you have to put the parentheses. Otherwise, it looks like it might be 5 minus 4, and you might do the wrong thing. Same thing with the 3k. You want to do 3 parentheses negative 4, not 3 negative 4. You don't want to have this. 3 plus 5 negative 4 equals 3 negative 4 minus 6. Because here, this looks like it's subtraction, but really it's 5 times k, and that's why we have to use the parentheses there. Okay, and if you simplify both sides, you do get negative 18 on both sides. All right, here's a couple for you to try. Go ahead and pause the video, hit play when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, we're back. So I'm going to kind of quickly go through these. So the first one, just copy it down here. You'd want to subtract 3w from both sides, and you would have 2 equals 4w. Divide both sides by 4. And you have w equals 2/4, which reduces to 1/2. All right, then you would substitute the 1/2 back in for w on either side and simplify and show that you actually do get the same thing on both sides. All right, for the sake of time and the length of this video, I'm not going to go through the check, but it's important that you do the check all the time. B, so 5a plus 2 equals 6 minus 7a. Now here we have a choice, because you could subtract 5a to both sides or add 7a to both sides. And what I would do is add 7a to both sides, because it's a lot easier in my mind to work with positive numbers. So if I add 7a to both sides, I'd have 12a plus 2 equals 6, and then subtract 2 from both sides, and you'd have 12a equals 4, then divide both sides by 12, and you'd have a equals 4/12, which is the same as 1/3. Now remember, it's okay if you get fractions or decimals for your answer. If your answer turns out to be a fraction, rewrite it in simplest form. If it's an improper fraction, you can leave it improper. And by improper, I mean the numerator is greater than or equal to the denominator. So like 17/3 would be an improper fraction. Now, if you end up with unity, like 3/3, yeah, definitely rewrite that as 1. Or if you have 6/3, definitely rewrite that as 2. But if you have an improper fraction, you can leave it as an improper fraction. Just make sure it's in simplest form, and you don't have to make it a mixed number. If you do, it's not wrong, I'm just saying. Okay, so x halves plus 1 equals 1/4 x minus 6. Now this one might have thrown you for a loop, but let me explain. X halves is the same as 1/2 x. So you can think of that as 1/2 x. So what I would do is I'd subtract 1/4 x from both sides. And 1/2 minus 1/4, if you get a common denominator, it's like 2/4 minus 1/4. You still get 1/4 x plus 1 equals -6. Then subtract 1 from both sides. And then you have 1/4 x equals -7. And then multiply both sides by 4/1. And these cross cancel, and you'd have x equals -28. All right, pretty cool. And the last one, you have 1.3 c equals 3.3 c plus 2.8. Now let me show you something here. If you want to keep things as positive, you would subtract 1.3 c from both sides, but that would present a problem, maybe, because you would be getting rid of everything on the left side. Well, let me show you what happens there. 1.3 c from both sides. These cancel. Now you need something on the left. Well, what's something minus itself is always 0. And then you would have 2c equals 2.8, or excuse me, plus 2.8. Then you could subtract 2.8 from both sides. Those cancel, and you'd have -2.8 equals 2c. Divide both sides by 2. And if I write the answer over here, you would have c equals -1.4. Okay? Now let me show you the other way to do that. You'd have 1.3c equals 3.3c plus 2.8. If you're okay with negatives, you could subtract 3.3c from both sides. Those cancel, and here you'd have -2.0 or -2c equals 2.8. And then you'd divide by -2, not subtract. And you'd still have -1.4. Okay, either way, you should get the same answer because it's the same problem. You just, depends which side you like to put your variables on, and if you like to deal with negatives with the variable or not. Sometimes it can't be avoided. So anyway, hope that was helpful to you. That's it for this installment of this first section. And next, we're going to get into solving equations with grouping symbols. So we'll see you on that one.